Mbekezeli Mbokazi finds himself at the center of a storm. Bafana Bafana head coach Hugo Broos has unleashed a blistering attack on the 20-year-old defender, questioning not just his professionalism, but his attitude, his decision-making, and even his choice of agent. This is a story about missed flights, missed opportunities, and what happens when a rising star's ego allegedly gets ahead of his achievements. Let's start at the beginning. Last Saturday, at the Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane, Mbekezeli Mbokazi captained Orlando Pirates to victory in the Carling Black Label knockout final. It was supposed to be the perfect send-off. The young defender, wearing the captain's armband, led his team to glory in what would be his final appearance in the famous black and white stripes of the Buccaneers. The celebration was sweet, the future looked bright, and a lucrative move to Major League Soccer's Chicago Fire awaited him after international duty. But somewhere between that victory lap in Polokwane and the Bafana Bafana camp at the Tuks High Performance Center in Tshwane, something went very wrong. The plan was simple. Mbokazi would fly from Durban to Johannesburg on Monday and join his national teammates as they prepared for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations finals in Morocco. The tournament represents a massive opportunity for South Africa, and for Mbokazi personally, it's a chance to showcase his talents on the continental stage before heading to America. Coach Hugo Broos had even given the players a few extra days off after their club commitments. All Mbokazi had to do was show up on time. He didn't. On Monday, the day he was expected at camp, Mbokazi missed his flight from Durban. He wouldn't arrive until Tuesday, a full day late, and when Hugo Broos learned of this, the Belgian coach was absolutely furious. Speaking to the media, Broos didn't mince words. "I am not pleased with what he did," the coach said, his frustration evident. "He let us know he missed his flight from Durban yesterday." But here's where the story gets more interesting and more troubling for the young defender. It wasn't even Mbokazi himself who informed the national team coach about the missed flight. It was Orlando Pirates coach Abdesalam Wadu who delivered the news to Broos. And according to the Bafana coach, Wadu was livid about the situation. "It was the coach of Pirates, Wadu, who informed me," Broos revealed. "He was very angry that he missed his flight. These were his words: unprofessional attitude." Think about that for a moment. This wasn't just the national team coach being upset. Mbokazi's own club coach, the man who had just handed him the captain's armband days earlier, was describing his behavior as unprofessional. That's damning coming from someone who has worked closely with the player and presumably has a strong relationship with him. The situation deteriorated further when Pirates sent a message to Broos about the incident. The coach's description of that communication: nonsense. He refused to elaborate on what the message contained, but his disgust was palpable. "Pirates sent me a nonsense message. I will not tell you what it was, but it was nonsense. It is worse that the club protects the player. This is very bad." For Broos, the club's apparent attempt to shield Mbokazi from criticism only made matters worse. Instead of holding their player accountable, Pirates seem to be making excuses, and that, in the coach's view, sends entirely the wrong message to a young player who needs guidance, not coddling. The coach then addressed what he saw as the core issue. "You are a 20-year-old guy, and you've been called up to play in the AFCON and in the World Cup next year. We give you a few extra days off, but if someone has a good attitude, they don't want the days off and are here on Monday." This is a crucial point. Broos had already shown flexibility and understanding by giving players additional time off after their club matches. Most dedicated professionals would have jumped at the chance to join their national team early, eager to impress and prepare. Instead, Mbokazi not only took the extra days, but then failed to show up even when he was supposed to. Broos promised there would be consequences, "So I will have a chat with him after training," the coach said. Then he added a colorful metaphor that has since dominated headlines. "He's a black guy, but when he comes out of my room, he will be white with fear." The coach wasn't finished. Then he offered his diagnosis of what he believes is really going on with Mbokazi. "I know why. Suddenly, he thinks he's a star. This is the attitude of a star. I decide when I come." This analysis cuts to the heart of a problem that plagues young footballers around the world. Mbokazi's rise has been meteoric. In a short space of time, he's gone from promising youngster to Pirates captain to multi-million-dollar MLS signing. That kind of rapid ascent can go to a player's head. The trappings of success, the attention, the money, they can all convince a young athlete that the normal rules don't apply to them anymore. But Broos wasn't done. His criticism extended beyond just the missed flight and the attitude problem. The coach took aim at Mbekezi's career decision itself, questioning the wisdom of the move to Chicago Fire, and more controversially, criticizing the player's agent. "What is he going to do in Chicago?" Broos asked rhetorically. "They're not even a top team in America." The coach then revealed what he believes really motivated the transfer. "But I know what happened. A nice little woman who is his agent and thinks she knows football is doing what many agents are doing now. They're saying, 'How much can I get?' If they were clever, they would know it is the AFCON and a World Cup, and other teams are better." Broos specifically named Mbekezi's agent, Basia Michaels, suggesting that she prioritized the financial windfall of the deal over what might actually be best for her client's career development. In the coach's view, a 20-year-old defender heading into an AFCON and with World Cup qualifiers on the horizon should be thinking about joining a top European club where he can develop against the best competition. Instead, he's heading to a mid-table MLS team. "What will he do in a big city like that?" Broos continued. "No, I don't think it's a good choice." The criticism of Michaels and the transfer raises important questions about player representation in modern football. Agents wield enormous influence over their clients' careers, and while some genuinely have the player's best interests at heart, others are accused of chasing commissions at the expense of career development. Whether that's fair in Michaels' case is debatable, but Broos clearly believes she steered Mbekezi wrong. From a purely sporting perspective, the coach has a point. Major League Soccer, while growing in quality and reputation, is not generally considered among the world's elite leagues. A talented young African defender with international experience and potential might be better served in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, where the competition is fierce and the spotlight brighter. Clubs scout those leagues constantly. The pathway from MLS to Europe's elite exists, but is less traveled. Chicago Fire specifically finished 10th in the Eastern Conference last season, missing the playoffs. They're a historic franchise in American soccer, but they're not currently competing for championships. For a player who could potentially attract interest from bigger clubs, especially after a strong showing at AFCON, it does seem like a curious choice unless the financial package was simply too good to refuse. But money, as Broos implies, shouldn't be the only consideration for a 20-year-old at the start of what could be a long and successful career. Playing time, quality of competition, coaching, facilities, and the pathway to bigger opportunities all matter. Whether Chicago Fire offers the optimal environment for Mbekezi's development remains to be seen. What's undeniable is that the young defender now faces a difficult situation. He's arrived at the national team camp under a cloud, with his coach publicly questioning his professionalism and decision-making. The other players will have heard or read Broos's comments. The media attention is intense, and lurking behind all of this is the pressure of performing at the Africa Cup of Nations, a tournament where South Africa will be expected to compete strongly. Mbekezi will need to demonstrate serious maturity in how he handles this crisis. A sincere apology, a commitment to proving himself, and most importantly, his performances on the training ground and in matches will all be crucial. He's at a crossroads in his young career. Does he take this criticism as a wake-up call and use it as motivation, or does he allow it to derail him? The broader implications of this incident extend beyond one player. It speaks to issues that South African football has grappled with for years: player discipline, the influence of agents, the balance between local development and international opportunities, and the attitudes of young players who achieve success quickly. Hugo Broos has built his reputation on being direct, demanding, and uncompromising. He's not a coach who coddles players or tolerates what he sees as unprofessional behavior. Some might argue his public criticism of a 20-year-old was too harsh, that such matters should be handled privately. Others will applaud his willingness to hold players accountable regardless of their status or potential. What happens next will be fascinating to watch. Mbekezeli now must prove himself worthy of his place in the squad, not just through his football ability, which has never been in doubt, but through his attitude and commitment. He'll train under the watchful eye of a coach who has made very clear what he expects. He'll prepare for a major tournament knowing that one mistake, one lapse in concentration or effort will be magnified given the circumstances. And after AFCON, assuming he's still part of the squad for World Cup qualifiers, he'll head to Chicago to begin his MLS adventure, carrying with him the weight of his coach's doubts and criticisms. For now, the message from Hugo Broos is crystal clear. Talent alone is not enough. Professionalism matters. attitude matters, and when you're given the honor of representing your country, you show up on time, you give everything you have, and you leave your ego at the door. Mbekezeli Mbokazi is about to learn whether he can meet those standards, or whether, as his coach fears, he's already started to believe his own hype. The Africa Cup of Nations will provide the answer. The football world will be watching.